Everybody, welcome to the City of Chicago's Treasurer's Office 1-hour mentor program. My name is Dan Gaddis. I am the Small Business Market Manager for Citibank, and I will be your moderator today. And so I want to thank you for coming, for spending some time and investing that time with us. Just a brief description of how the program will work if you're unfamiliar with that. But it is an open question forum. We have a group of panelists with an array of business expertise, business owners, as well as entrepreneurs and members of non-for-profits, as well as financial institutions. So I will quickly introduce the panelists, just from my left all the way to the far left, and each panelist will just take a little bit of time to introduce themselves, tell you where they're from and what they do, what business they run, or what kind of services they provide. And then I will jump around the table, and I'll have a microphone, and we'll try to get to as many questions as we can in the time allotted. All right, so on my left, we have Donna Rockin, the director of the Duman Entrepreneurship Center. We also have Luca, who's an executive chef. Thank you for joining. We have Christy Weber, as well as Justin Howard. So Justin is the founder and CEO of Sprout Social, and Christy is the founder of Christy Web Landscapes, and it's obviously definitely pull out, right? Christy Web Landscapes. All right, and so I will just hand it to Donna, and we'll just go straight down the line and introduce yourself.
Hi, the Duman Entrepreneurship Center is an Illinois small business development center. We manage the city treasurer's business plan competition where the awards were just given out. But we are a non-for-profit. We are funded by the Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity and the SBA. And so any entrepreneur who wants to come for one-on-one technical assistance or attend any one of our classes, almost all of them are free. Our services are provided at no cost, and we have that table when you walk in the door.
Hi, my name is Luca Corazzina. I'm the executive chef for Restaurant 312 Chicago, which is also known as the Kimpton Hotels and Restaurants. We have about 60 hotels around the United States, 4 here in Chicago. Great company. My job is coming up with ideas and just to stay alive in the restaurant business, which is very challenging, and always coming up with something fresh and new ideas to make it more exciting for our guests.
Hi everyone, my name is Howard. My name is Justin Howard. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Sprout Social, which is a Chicago headquartered software company. We're located here in the West Loop. Sprout's about 3.5 years old. We started with an idea and about 3 people. The organization now is about 100 employees here in Chicago and customers around the world. We provide software that business customers use from small business up to large enterprise that they use to manage their social media presence, to be more effective in social channels and connect with their customers on a closer level using things like Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, etc.
Hi, I'm Christy Weber. I'm a gym teacher and I can talk really loud. I have a degree in gym. I have a landscaping business here in Chicago on the west side. I employ 400 people, and you see our trucks around, they're red. And I'm willing to take any of your questions and figure out whatever we need to do to help you. I'm pretty forward about what I do with my business and how I run it. And so don't be afraid to ask me anything, right?
Well, thanks. And that's a perfect segue into just opening up to you all. Any question is fair game. And obviously, you stump the panel, we have a party good for you. But with that said, firsthand, we'll just hand over to you.
I'm sorry. You said your degree's in gym?
Yeah.
And so how did you get how did you become an entrepreneur? Why, and how did you even learn how to do it?
Okay, how many people here have their own business? Oh, great. And how many people are here because they're trying to like figure out if they want to get into business? So you're scared to death, right? So, I just had a passion, and I was a hard worker. And I think that, it was a very easy entry-level kind of business. A truck, and a mower, and a weed whip, and a blower. And so, fortunately, there was one hardware store that took a chance on me and gave me a line of credit because the mower in my business is $700, not just the $99 one from Home Depot. And so, they allowed me to purchase some equipment on time of about $1,500 and took a chance. And that was a big risk because I was a mess. At that time, I had just gotten out of, it was the 80s. So, so I was a gym teacher and a professional, partier. And so I moved back to Chicago and just, got cleaned up. I probably have similar stories to a million folks here, just didn't go to jail because of it. Got cleaned up, started cutting grass, and just moved on. And I didn't let any of all of this fear that you're letting get me, because I was so passionate about being outdoors. I'm from the country and I just wanted to be outside. I wanted to be in the city because I'm a minority and I'm a woman and I'm gay, and so I got all these bells and whistles. I didn't want to live in the country anymore. So I wanted to be in the city but I wanted to be sort of country. So how sweet is it, And so now, I sit around and look at spreadsheets and I hate my job. So, just kidding. So,
That sounds familiar. All right, so, here, we'll go right here.
This question is also for Christy Weber. I assume that since you're in the landscaping business, that you do business with governments. I assume like with the city of Chicago, the state of Illinois. So given that, please share your advice with us on how to do business with government.
well, first I'm just going to pitch right off that you need a good bank. And actually, these guys are great. We did try to work with you guys. I didn't have a bank because I'm a former, recovering cocaine addict, so any money I had in my pocket was a lot of money. But I learned very quickly that to work with the city, you're going to have a line of credit. You're going to have some money in the bank. And you're going to have great paperwork skills. You might be the crappiest landscaper, drywaller, plumber, but if you can do your paperwork, they love you. You're still going to have to do the work, but the number one thing that's going to kill you is if you can't get your paperwork in, to get yourself paid. And so, and they'll drown you in a second. There's I bet they owe me $350,000 every day, all year, at one point or another. And so, anyway, I just, honestly, if you don't have a good bank, if you don't have the skills to do paperwork or have that administrative assistant, you are done quickly. But again, just jumped into it, didn't know, 25% lower than the next guy. Just, I'm telling you, if you just go with your gut and it's what you love, and you're honest, and you're true, and then you get involved with not-for-profits and your community, I feel like God will bless you and you'll move forward. Honestly, to me, that's what's happened with me.
I would just say from a standpoint of working with government as a banker, the bigger the entity for a small business, the bigger the entity, whether it's government or a larger corporation, it tends to be more problematic, especially when it comes to an AR, or your agent of receivables collecting that money, because you're thinking as an entrepreneur that this is the golden ticket. There's a lot of work doing things like that. So having partners that can help you navigate is really key. I'm going to actually ask Donna to weigh in on this a little bit because I know that she does a lot with small business owners and entrepreneurs with this.
We do provide one-on-one technical assistance. There's no cost for it. You just have to register as a client. And the other thing we have, which is really important for startups and businesses that are just a couple of years old, is we have access to capital. We have our own private loan fund. And, yeah, and our interest can't be beat. Up to $5,000, it's prime on the day of closing, $5,001 to $15,000, which is our maximum loan. It's prime plus 2 on the day of closing, and prime's been stuck like at about 3 1/4, 3. So, I mean, it is a value compared to nothing. But also the technical assistance, and if we don't know the answer to your question, we'll try to find you a mentor in our vast, we have a Rolodex still of just that people that will come and help you so that, you know, you can avoid trouble. I want us to be your first call when you start hitting the fan.
Yeah, again, if you're a business owner or an entrepreneur and you're just starting out, 4 letters, SBDC, right? Small Business Development Centers. They are the, I think, angels of the small business world because A, they're key resources, B, they're basically there to get you going. Their job is to get your business up and running. And I can square away that whether it's JBS Duman, SCORE, Axion, the WBDC, there's tremendous amounts of help in the city of Chicago as well as Chicago. So, all right, we're going right over here. Phil?
So I hate to drop an F word in a room full of small business owners and entrepreneurs, but failure. I was wondering if you guys can share your the story or your opinions on failure, how to overcome it, and how to deal with it.
I was successfully self-employed for 15 years, but I had hair his color when I started. So you get gray fast. But it helps if you can think and have partners to bounce ideas off. You will make mistakes, but the thing you want to do is really minimize them and then make sure you don't repeat them. But you will make them. But if you're working with a small business development center, if you have a good team of advisors, hopefully the mistakes will be small and not costly.
A comment on failure and obstacles. I was actually on a panel yesterday that was really interesting that was talking about, one of my co-panelists was talking about the turning point for his business was the day when everything had gotten so bad that he sat in a room alone and had a conversation with himself and said, you know, this is, it's sink or swim at this point, and it's just me. What am I going to do? And there's this point when it gets severe. And the point of all that was after that, and after you face the challenges, even if it's a smaller challenge, it's not, you know, this fork in the road, but the smaller challenges, I deal with problems every day today that 2 years ago would have crippled me, right? That you develop this thick skin where things that seem like monumental challenges, you're going to deal with harder and harder things all the time, and then you're going to laugh at yourself for some of the things that you let kind of test your mettle, you know, in the past. So I think that failure, not absolute failure, but failure on the little things and even the larger things throughout your day, those are going to happen, and you're going to develop a resilience to those over time, and they're not bad. I mean, it's failure is the number one thing that helps you understand what to do right next time and all those things. So you don't want to you know, end up falling off the cliff failing, but as you're failing over time, it's a healthy and beautiful thing.
You know, Thomas Edison once said that, you know, he was often said to people, how did you cope with failing, you know, with taking so long to invent the incandescent light, right, or the filament? And he said, basically, you know, I'm paraphrasing, but I didn't fail. I just learned how to do something different each time until he got it right. So I think that's important. And I think we can just to echo what Christy said, either you're all in or you're not, right? So you just got to be really kind of key on that. So you got to take that step.
I probably don't need a mic because I've got a big mouth.
So this question's for Luca. So you're in the restaurant business, as you know, his huge failure rate. So can you share with the group the importance of customer service and what that means to you as a chef and what you bring to the table for your clientele that come into your restaurant?
Yeah, in the restaurant business, it's a challenge every day. You know, my job is never the same every day. So to make your, especially my restaurant successful, you got to come up with different new ideas. Taking care of the customer, not only having just a regular menu, offering the gluten-free menu, the vegetarian, the vegan menu, all those kind of different dietary restrictions that people have nowadays. Especially buying products, fish, we buy everything sustainable. So those are not endangered species. Meats, it's everything grass-fed, so there's no antibiotic in the meats. Produce, a lot of organic stuff. Coming up with new ideas, I have a rooftop on top of the hotel later, which is ours, on the 27th floor, that we put in our own garden, so everything is fresh. That goes into the, definitely you're not going to generate the volume, because we do big numbers in my restaurant. We do about 500 to 600 people a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So definitely having a roof garden is not going to necessarily, produce all that kind of volume, but with time, you find different farmer. I work with a lot of local farmers, especially here in Illinois. So it's always coming up with different ideas, and then going back on the failure part, yes, I do work for a big company, so failure could be sometimes not seeing the outcome of a busy week. It could be a failure, but also in my past, about 8 years ago, I did open up my own restaurant, and I found at the time, I thought it was the right partner. So having the right partner means a lot, because that could be also part of the failure that made my restaurant shut down. If you can't control, you don't know exactly how to control the numbers, some money is missing and costs are being spent in the wrong way. As a restaurant guy, I look to take care of the guest. That's what my purpose was. My partner was more into the money. So sometimes you gotta lose some money to make it. So it made me even stronger, because it shut me down. I have a family, I got 2 beautiful kids, and it kind of shuts you down after you work so many hours, 80, 90, 100 hours a week, my hours alone, when you have your own restaurant. When it does shut down, it kind of throws you off, but it also makes you stronger. I think anything in life that, you learn by your mistakes first of all, and definitely life is not going to be 100% shiny and happy every day. You're going to have your downfall, but it makes you stronger, and then you come back. My satisfaction is when I have my guests that leave the restaurant, they're happy, and then they come back. I have a lot of repeats, especially being right in front of City Hall. Most of my people that do join me, the mayor is there, the governor is there, a lot of big-time lawyers, a lot of politicians are there, and they come back for the good quality stuff.
Other questions?
Hi, my question is for Justin. I was at an earlier panel, I think led by, I want to say her name is Tracy Smith, where she recommended your software company.
Very nice.
Yeah, and so I guess my question is, probably a lot of people refer your business now, but how in the beginning, how did you approach different companies in order for them to buy into using your software?
Yeah. So the early days for us were, we're a social media software company 2,000 miles away from where social media lives and where software companies live in Silicon Valley. So we had an uphill battle even in the beginning in terms of visibility. And the things that worked for us early on were a lot of little things that end up adding up to a pretty big pile. But the thing that we found is that as a small business, as any business, who's fighting for the attention of your customer, because attention is the most scarce currency there is today. To get the attention of your customer, it all boils down to what there's an author named Seth Godin refers to as the last 10%. And what that means is we all have tons of interactions every day with people and businesses and everything else that are not memorable, right? It's just you go through your day and you have interactions. And then there's some interactions that are above and beyond in some fashion. It's a product, a service, an interaction with someone that makes you stop and either tell somebody, write a tweet about it, write a Yelp review, write a blog story about you, give you an award, whatever it might be. And all of the key to visibility of customer acquisition in today's market, because attention, as I said, is rare, is about finding a way to be remarkable and focusing on that last 10%. Because everyone's going to do, all of your competition, everyone who's fighting for this attention is going to be doing the same things. The one who goes that extra 10% is the one that's actually going to be talked about and going to be visible. So for us, what that meant was we have a lot of customer interactions in social media. That's where we deal with a lot of our customer conversations, whether it's customer service, good, bad, or otherwise. And we said every one of those interactions is, we're going to make it meaningful and find a way to make it remarkable, and then people would talk about it. And that just snowballs. So every customer that we had would end up getting us more, and because they were talking about us in social media and those things. So that extra 10% is the difference between being a silent company that nobody's ever heard of and being someone that people rave about.
So I never even knew that 10%, but that's exactly what we did. Firstly, I made sure every single truck on the road has my name on it, has the company name on it. Secondly, I took the goofy things about myself or about, being a woman in my industry is like unheard of, and played it big time. I also did a lot of advertising in the gay community because I knew they would, say, let's work with somebody we're like. So if you're Hispanic or African American, maybe work with your community. Play off those things, look for that 10%. And so, then I had to change my story because, the biker dyke and all that wasn't catching the work anymore. So then I followed the mayor because the mayor was all green, Mayor Daley. So I built this green building. So that sent me to the next level, where people were like, wow, she's pretty cool. She built a green building. She cares about the environment. So now the thing I'm into, and he just said it, is food. Because I think exactly what he's talking about, if you guys, anybody get into the landscaping business, I think moving towards urban farms, urban gardens, helping these restaurateurs find good vegetables, fresh food, and I don't just mean gardens that you build outside for, people that don't have food, like on the west side where I am and the south side. I mean, if you're going to do that, then do it and teach the kids how to grow it and make some money off that guy. He's going to buy it. Flowers, he does a lot of edible flowers. Honestly, that's the biggest money right there. Nobody even knows that, but those little, flowers, they decorate stuff with them and they pay tons of money for that. That's a whole business, right from your backyard.
No, definitely. What she's talking about flowers is edible flowers that also give a great presentation on your dish, just to tweak it up a little bit. But definitely, the food part, maybe we gotta talk because I need help.
This is how it
She pick up
works.
the business. It's like in my profession, it's like I'm not only stuck inside the restaurant. I try to do all these off-premises events, St. Jude's Hospital, Northwestern, Green Tie Ball, Chicago May, any kind of event, Bacon Fest right here, any kind of event that I can go do. If it's 1,000 people, only 10 come in the restaurant, that's great for me. It's all word of mouth. You do a good job, you're going to make sure those 10 people are going to talk to another 10 people. That's how you get your business soon.
I actually have a question because it's going to flow, and I'll make sure I get to it. Because we talk about customer service, we talk about getting people in your door, the differentiators, and I think when the question was asked, how many of your business owners, I think something always pops up, right? And I'm just going to bring it out. How many people want to know how these individuals, Donna as well as Luca and Justin, gained access to capital? Is that kind of important? Yeah. So why don't we'll go straight down. When you started your business, right? And you indicated that you were able to get the Ace Hardware or a local hardware store to give you a trade line, right? Or a line of credit. But how did that affected your business? How did you move onward and start establishing maybe even larger lines? Or where did you get it?
You're going to have to sign away your life. So you better have a conversation with your wife or with your husband. Because no matter what, I see a lot of businesses fail because their partners don't really believe in them or their better halves and won't let them sign off the house. So you are going to have to do that. He'll make it sound super simple, but it's not simple. I just went in and I got a loan for my first truck from a bank, and it was, try to find a friend that really knows what they're talking about money, and generally try to find a man, because it's a man's business, banking is. So who cares? You just need the money, whether you're black or woman or whatever. So find a white dude that understands their language. And I swear to God, even though you own the business and you are going to make the payments, that banker will talk to that white dude. And it works. It works like a charm. All the white dude in my office has to tell me is what not to say, because, I'll say something that'll make the bank, not want to give me money. But, but anyway, this bank gave me a $5,000 loan. It was LaSalle Bank at the time. I didn't even read, the fine print, and it was for a truck, and there was a pre-penalty clause on it, which, honest to God, that was such a jerky thing to do, but that was very typical of, that's the kind of sneaky shit they'll pull on you. So just, have somebody that knows how to read the fine print. You guys all have a friend that would love to help you grow your business. I mean, I can't tell you, I'm so homegrown that people still want to help me, even though I'm one of the largest landscapers in the Midwest now. People are so proud. There's people around you that are super smart, went to Kellogg or Harvard or wherever they go. I didn't even know how to read QuickBooks. And so they want to help you. And all you need to do is get off your high horses and stop being so bullheaded and ask for help. And just find the right person, and then, and then try to get over the bullshit factor, because some of those friends might have that going on, but, I don't believe in partners, to be honest with you. I had 2 of them and I had to get rid of them. So, he got screwed, I got screwed. So, partnerships, it's close. For me, they never worked. So, they just, it cost me a lot of money to get rid of them. You do have a partner, I bet you. Yeah. So, everybody has a different business model. For me, it was fine not to have a partner. But anyway.
So, and I tend to agree that, especially for small organizations, partnerships as you're getting started are really rough. We had, my organization had a bit of a different beginning that I don't know how relevant it's going to be to a lot of you. It's, my company is backed by a venture capital firm, which is something that tends to skew toward things like technology and healthcare and biotech and things like that. So in that situation, I think it's a little more common for founders to work. But when you're talking about things like signing away, your house as collateral and those kind of bank loans and things like that, that's super sensitive. And the more people involved in that equation, that's tough going.
Yeah.
But, in terms of my company's raised about $11 million so far, and that's, again, it's venture capital. So we work with originally with some Chicago investors for our earliest stages of financing. Now I've worked with a firm that's in Silicon Valley and on the East Coast. But for any of you who are thinking about going that route, educate yourself fully. There are a lot of white dudes in venture capital, and there's a lot of
the banking business with a different name.
Yeah, there's just a lot of ways that I came into this not understanding that world at all, and we were fortunate to work with some really great people, and that's all been a very positive experience for us. But more often than not, you tend to either give your equity in your company away to people who end up not really seeing things the way that you see them, or there can be a lot of contentious situations. But I'm happy to talk offline or in a further conversation about some of the things specific to venture capital for anyone who's interested. I just don't know how many of you would go that route.
Well, in the restaurant side, right now it's totally different. There's private investors, they invest money in the hotel, in the restaurant, and in the company. When I had my own, also you can get in business without putting your money in, right? So if you're a professional, you can run the show. You can get some private investor to throw in the money, but make sure that he has no say in the business, because you know what you're doing, and then you get stuck with the wrong person, all of a sudden the problem will start. To go and take a loan out of your own house, that's risky. I see a lot of my friends in the restaurant business, they lose everything. You don't want to do that. So try to find a couple maybe private investors that have no say in the business. You put that on paper, get a good lawyer, and try to make your business by yourself. If you know, definitely start also slow in the restaurant business. You don't want to start big. You know, friends of mine invest $500,000, 300-seat place. Why you want to do that? Start small, 80 seats. You know, fill it up every night. Start making your money. Pay off that guy that let you borrow the money. Then you have a good business growing for you. You know, mine, it's been a family-run tradition. My mother was a chef. I was born and raised in Italy. I came to the United States the first time I was 16, and I followed my mom. She was a chef in Italy too. So after school, I would go in their kitchen, peel potato, wash dishes, whatever. When we came to the United States, you know, we did our little trattoria, like a small family restaurant, 40 seats, Little Italy, Harlem Avenue. Welcome to Chicago, right? I didn't speak English. And I worked with my mother side by side. I did not go to culinary school. I did not get a cooking degree. That's what most of the chefs we do now. You know, they spend $40,000, $50,000 a year at school, and then you get back out, you got to start all over. You're not going to become a chef once you get that degree. So I did it the hard way, starting way low. My mother taught me a lot of stuff, plus I worked with other chefs around the country. I worked for Walt Disney Resorts. I work in Miami. I work in Virginia, and most of the times here in Chicago with great chefs. In the last 15 years, I became my own executive chef without that. So having a business, you know, do not put yourself in a hole that you're going to regret. Find that private investor, see if he can put the money in. He has no say. When you start making some money, pay him off, and then you start living good.
Like I said, we have our own private loan funds, and they're quite substantial. Our maximum loan is only $15,000. But I am going to point out one thing, that the Duman Center or any banker is going to look at your credit score. So if your credit score is a little dicey, because it's been tough times these last several years, you want to work with the Duman Center. We have a program to build and restore your credit. We have our credit builder advisor in the room now, and I'm going to say her phone number. It's Sharon Wave. The phone is 773-516-5533, but we are part of a consortium that is funded by City Community Development, so that if you're not close to one of our offices, we can recommend a Chicago credit builder partner in the coalition who can help you in your own neighborhood, because they are going to see an ability that you can repay your obligations. And so we don't have in our loan funding program, we don't have a score set in stone, but I want to see that you pay everybody back, because she does credit building, but I do the collections. So, but money is available. I mean, money really is available. We have several $100,000 in our loan fund. And for a lot of your businesses, $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 is going to be enough to get you a start. And we do report to the credit bureaus, and soon we're going to start reporting to DNB, so that you're building credit for your business, so that it's easier to get your second loan. We also do an awful lot of SBA Express loans, and I will give them a plug. It is a very easy program to get up to $150,000 in financing, and these are 10-year term loans. So, you know, they have an export loan, they have a Patriot Express loan for veterans, and a regular small business loan. And all of them are up to $150,000. Now, you can take less if you need less, but if you need more than my 15, we help you get one of those loans.
Okay, repeat that phone number again.
773-516-5533.
All right, thanks for answering that question. As the white banker in the room, no, you know, I really do appreciate it, because it gives you this really clear perspective of how to gain access to capital, because that's the most critical thing as I see as a banker. So there's a couple things you guys should remember, right? Most banks want you in business for at least 2 years, right? Donna and a bunch of the micro lenders inside the city of Chicago, that's not important, right? There's other things that are important to them, but credit score is always key, right? And I think what came out of this is having a partner and reading fine print, right? So Axiom Chicago is another micro lender that has a starter loan that you can, it's ACCION. Now obviously I'm a board member, so I'm doing a plug, but JVS is another one that I refer to a lot. right? And they will actually, if you have some spotty credit, you have no credit, it's really important that you kind of take a look at that, those starter loans that go up from $250 and upwards, but it's really critical, right? And I know that you had a question, but we'll come back, keep your questions, we'll keep having fun going around.
Christy, hi. This question is for you. Oftentimes, we have really great business ideas, but don't necessarily have the skills to pull it off. Because you started where you did, and you said, oh, this sounds like a really great idea, could you talk a little bit about the team you pulled together to help you make it possible?
Again, this is low entry level work. You know, it was just hard work. I knew how to drive a truck, I knew how to cut the grass, right? Who doesn't, right? So that was easy. But when people started asking me to do planting or bid on big projects, that I didn't know. So I hired, again, from the gay community, a friend of mine who was a landscape architect that had worked for Ted Wolf. He's a big landscape architect in the city. He was a neighbor, wasn't happy working downtown, wanted to work in the Wicker Park neighborhood, that's where I lived. So he came on board probably for a less salary, because what did I know to start off? You know, I didn't know. I'd been in business just a few years. And helped me build my business. Took me to the next level, as a matter of fact. We did this big project, and at that point I didn't even know if I was making or losing money, because I just was having so much fun. The phone was ringing. We couldn't even keep up with it. You know, at that time, you know, that was when everybody was getting a median and there was so much landscaping going on. The economy was great. Things were cooking in this green business. Even my neighbors were planting flowers, and they, you know, I don't know where they stole them from, but they were planting flowers. So everybody was into it. So I just happened to be at the right time, the right place, the right everything. But, you know, I worked hard, so all that luck was, you know, I capitalized on it because I just got on it. I talked about my business to everybody. I met the right people. I went to these things all the time. Anytime the city had, I call them Love Fest, where we all get together as minorities and cry about how the white dudes screw us. And I always went. I don't care how big I am, and I still go because I just feel so grateful and so blessed that you know, that was my opportunity. Another way that I got was that, you know, by becoming a minority and being certified by the city of Chicago, some of the prime guys, Moore Landscapes, Klaus Brothers, told me, you know, they needed minorities, so they hired me. And instead of just being that 5% or 25% if you're African American, no, I paid attention. You know, I learned what they were doing, where they bought their trucks, how much they were paying for stuff, and I was always paying more than them, and I knew that wasn't fair. I paid attention instead of just taking my percentage or calling them up and saying, where's more? You know, I have minorities call me up now and it's like, where's more? I need your business. I want more business, you know? And I feel like, well, go get your own business. I'll give you what, you know, I'll share, but you got to be on your own too, you know. You can't just rely as a minority on those primes to keep, you got to build your own and be diverse. Be diverse. That was another thing, is diversification. I just made sure I always cut the grass, I always planted the flowers, I always planted the trees. I didn't just follow one train of work, because if I did, let's say I just did landscaping, I'd be out of business. Thank God I cut the grass, because the city kept hiring to do that, and so did my clients. You know, the wife came home and said, honey, we can't get a new car, but I'm not cutting the grass. You know, they just never, you know, we never stopped mowing people's homes, because believe me, that woman was never going to go out in Lincoln Park and do it. So we did it, you know, and that's a different, you know, that's my business. You just have to figure out yours and how you can make that and capitalize on that. So, and hire good people, and you'll get screwed. I did. I got screwed by a ton of people all the time, but it never stopped me. It never stopped me. I never lost faith in people, and I never stopped being happy, being blessed, giving back, doing everything. I'm sure you feel the same way. I mean, I never let it get me down. Bad customers or bad people that work for me.
This is for the panel. I was wondering if there were any challenges that you handled early on or decisions that you made kind of early on that you would handle differently now with hindsight, aside from the partner, taking on a partner. Thank you.
So, a quick note, and I hear this a lot, and I think every interview or conversation with someone with the size of a business will tell you is hire great people earlier than you probably expect to. I imagine that at the time maybe it felt like you were punching above your weight class a little bit, hiring the person coming from your firm, and probably changed the dynamic of your business. So getting really talented people involved, hopefully people who know a lot more about parts of the business that you don't understand, as early as possible is going to change everything. Because we talked about partnerships and how tough that can be. I'm talking more about, in my case, my co-founders, but just employees that are going to be able to take you to the next level. You'd much rather have share some of that ownership and responsibility for someone who's going to help you make that business thrive versus be proud and try and do everything yourself, and you end up working your ass off for 3 years and not being able to make anything go of it. So get rid of that pride, hire the smartest people you can around you to do things that you don't like to do. Focus on what you're really good at, and just make sure that you're surrounding yourself with as much talent as possible.
And now, yeah, I don't know, she's giving you the sign. We're over. But thank you very much. Thank you for a wonderful moderator. Thank you. And keep enjoying your program. There's more to come this afternoon.
Everybody, welcome to the City of Chicago's